Welcome to Spurs Vision TV. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Welcome to Spurs Vision TV. Can you guys hear me? Yeah. Okay, everyone can hear me now. Right, that's good. Right. Hope all is doing well. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning to wherever you are in the world. Right, welcome to Spurs Vision TV. Can you say something, Doc, so I can hear you?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me here.
Yeah, no problem. Today we're going to do it a bit smaller. Today, not many guests on, and especially it's international break. I guess most of everybody is just licking their wounds at the moment, sports fans. But of course, we know the score was this, right? But we also know that the halftime score was 2-0. We were up 2-0 at then. And honestly, I was doing the watch along in that game, right? There was one thing I just kept asking my viewers and people who were in the chats and all that. Hold on, let me bring on Ian.
Sorry, I'm late.
No, it's okay, yeah.
Better to be Ian Meth late than the late Ian Meth. That's what they say.
Yeah. Meth late. Ian Meth late. Yeah.
Hello.
Ian,
Hello.
Doc Ramlan, I'm not sure whether you've met him before. On this side, yeah.
I'm not sure. Maybe a while ago. Am I?
Yeah, maybe a while ago. Yeah.
Hello,
just some
Ian.
introductions. Yeah. Dr. Ramlan here is actually a sports doctor, right? He's quite well-known or renowned in Malaysia, right? He used to be the National Sports, National Sports Council, head of the National Sports Council, something like that.
The head bouncer.
Head bouncer of the National Sports Council.
Yeah.
Of Malaysia,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And he specializes in sports medicine and all.
I'm going to try and put my headphones in. If there's an echo, I'll take it out again. Just bear with me a second.
No problem. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So, yeah. As I was saying, right, we were doing well. I was doing the watch along for this match, right? When the game was going on, when we reached halftime, I just had one question to my viewers and of course the panels who are going to jump on later. I asked them, were we comfortable, right? Were we comfortable while all that was happening, right? So while we wait for Ian to set up his Bluetooth headphones so he can hear us clearly, and most probably we can get him to be a bit louder. He seems to be a bit low on volume. And of course, let's say big up to Nippon. Big up, hope you're well, Nippon, right? He's all the way in the UK. Is it off day today? If it's off day today, maybe I'll catch up with you later, right? And let me see whether Ian's set up. And if I'm not mistaken, Ian is in Spain at the moment, right?
Yeah, that doesn't. Well, I'm in Spain at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever I see this,
I tried this last time. Whoops! I tried this last time with. They don't provide. Apple don't provide slots for. They don't provide slots for headphones anymore. I do have the wireless, but they didn't work very well last time. Leave it. I can hear you okay. I can prefer hearing you better, but I can hear you okay.
Yeah.
That's good. You can't hear them maybe. Yeah, and Ian's got his famous background. You know, I think that is his patio in his apartment in Spain or something like that, right?
Yeah, I'm not hearing well enough. All right, I need to keep doing this because I'm not hearing you well enough.
Okay. Let Ian settle this. Well, I'll just have as I was saying, I was asking my guests, right, and of course the people in chat, right, that do we feel comfortable? And of course, some of them were saying, no, we did quite well, we look okay, and some of them were saying, still not comfortable enough, even being 2-0 up. There were signs that our defense wasn't showing up that well. Yeah, Mark, big up, Mark. Yeah. Doc Ramlan. Do you know Dr. Tottenham?
No, I haven't made acquaintance. No. Maybe one day, huh?
Yeah, and Ian, I think there's an echo coming from your side.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it happened last time. I don't know why. Let's turn that off. Okay, let's try one more trick. Turn that off. Yeah, I don't know why that's done. Don't know why.
Okay. All right. Okay, while Ian settles his problems with the technical problems that we're having in now. He's going to bring Alexa
Look,
thing.
Can you hear me?
looks like a brick.
Yeah, I can hear
Yeah,
Through
yeah.
you. Alexa.
settings.
Yeah. Ian's brought out Alexa. Yeah, that's good. All right, so as I was saying, I didn't feel comfortable, and then of course, after the second half, we came out, and within 3 minutes we conceded, right? And then I think within 18 minutes or so, we were already 3-2 down, and it was very frustrating. Being doing the watch along and all that. I was shouting, "Why aren't you?" What was I saying? Why aren't you doing substitutes? Where are the substitutes? Bring on the substitutes, right? Of course, there's a story behind it. We'll get to that later, right? And while we wait for Ian to set up settle his technical issues, Doc, since you didn't watch the game, right? Give me an idea of your thoughts, right, on the game.
I watched alone. Usually because I need to be alone with my thoughts whatever I see before me on the television. I was pleased to see the intensity and the way we played and everything. But there's always that feeling of dread, because usually any team that plays us, okay, will play a low block or something, right? And then we'll struggle to pass the ball around them, to get the ball down to the bylines, and then to hoist over the crosses and all that, to get the chances, shots at goal. Now this time they played an open game, right? They were very terribly open, but at the same time we were able to exploit that openness and score those 2 goals. But at the same time, we can notice the weaknesses already showing up. For instance, Udogi did not seem as comfortable as he should have been, right? Just returning from injury and all that. But at the same time, I felt that he was maybe half a yard or so behind, everybody else. And then as the half ended, I felt that the coach is a clever man. Yes, he must have worked out how to deal with this. And he made a few tweaks himself in terms of how they play and all that. They still played open. They're still susceptible. If you look at the stats, our stats in the second half, it is still very much the same level of possession, the number of chances carved out. But the shots at goal were few and far between, even though they were still. But there's nothing that threatened their goal. Now, at the same time, we seem to have a lack of leadership, on the field. You can see Vicario always vocal and remonstrative with his body language and all that. But the rest were sort of like withdrawing to their shell. When they scored the first one, it's like all the self-doubt descended upon them, right? And suddenly we became our own worst enemy. Suddenly the intensity dropped, and they were able to exploit that. And they kept coming in through that right winger. What's Minte? Wasn't it? What's his name? Minte, right?
Both the wingers were giving us.
Yeah, both. Mitoma on the other side, Minte on the other side. Yes.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So and then I'm just raising up this question. Now, if we look at the matches before, the immediate match immediately before the international break, did we lose? Right? Did we lose? If you look back, Eugene, when was that the last time? If we had lost
break, we lost to Newcastle 2-1. It was at the beginning of September.
There you go. You know why? Because I was very disappointed with Romero and Udogi in particular. All right, they were. Romero was like, he was suddenly he's no longer the front foot defender that we know him to be, right? Always having initiative and then not afraid to make the tackle. Suddenly he's standoffish. He's not aware of what's happening around him, and Udogi was indirectly or directly responsible for all 3 goals. He was involved in the lead up to all of the 3 goals from Brighton. So I feel that there's something that needs to be addressed. Number one, the lack of leadership on the field. I never felt in those days when Lloris was the captain, I never felt that the goalkeeper should be a captain anyway. because you are way back there in the gallery, whereas your men are out there, out in the great wide open. So you have to get somebody who's in the middle of the field, either at least at the very least a centre back or a midfielder who can shore up everybody's defense. Now then suddenly everybody went into their shells, to the respective shells, all thinking with alone with their doubts and with their thoughts, which is actually a very dangerous thing. Nobody is talking to each other and all that. They all basically. There was one time when I think when Romero was asleep, suddenly he was looking around and as if everybody else was to blame. Everybody else was to blame for the goal, conceded. So I feel that in the end we have to sort out this issue. And the coach has 2 weeks during the international break to assess and evaluate what went on and what are his solutions. I feel that it's no longer a problem of a system of play. If we say that it's because the system of play became like that, I beg to differ, because it's because you don't have the right level of intensity and the utter commitment. Whatever system you wield on the field, if this is the intensity and the attitude, you will always lose. No doubt about that, because you're not matching, you're not competitive enough, you're not fighting your opponent. Well, not literally, but you're not fighting against the tide that's coming to you. You're just standing there and just wait for the tide to come and wash over you. So there you go. I feel disappointed, and I wouldn't disagree with anybody who says that this is probably the worst match in terms of how, not so much how we played football, but how we played as men. Okay, to be honest with you.
Okay, fair. Ian, a long time no see on the channel, right? Good to have you back.
Too long, my friends.
Yeah. Good to have you back. Just your thoughts on the game before we go in depth on what's happened.
I mean, first of all, there is an adjective in the English language called Spursy for a reason, and that is, it's not in the Oxford Dictionary yet, but I think it's only a matter of time. Throughout our history, and I mean, you do get a lot of social media, of course, can be a poison when something like that goes on. Let's get the manager out, get the chairman out, and what have you. No one was saying that when we were winning 5 games on the trot, even if we rode our luck a little bit. But I think what's disappointed me about that, and usually if we lose a game, we lose a game. It's football. It's not life and death. Move on. But the fact that we played so very, very well in the first half. I was hosting a show at 8 o'clock BST that evening. And you're preparing in your head, how you're going to host, what you're going to say, and talk about all the positives, how well we played, how the side's developing, how we're looking like a top 4 side, how we're looking like a team that could win cups, etc. There's a cohesion there, there's a confidence there. Ange has got them playing his way. All the positives, all the plaudits you can come up with. And then the second half started. And I cannot remember such a Jekyll and Hyde performance. I mean, another cliche is a game of 2 halves. Well, it really was. But the way we collapsed, the way we ceased to compete, etc., was what I found alarming. And, the good doctor is right about a lack of leadership. And I would normally agree with that. But when you think that Romero, World Cup winning captain, was played 90 minutes, you would think that he would be able to, get the game by the scruff of the neck, get the players by the scruff of the neck, and really, really get them going. But there was no leadership on the field at all. I do blame Ange, because I think he should have made changes. I think saying at 2-1 he should have hit the panic button and made changes. No. But I think at 2-2, when it was clear that we'd lost the initiative, I think he needed to make changes, probably getting Werner off, and even going 4-4-2 for a little while to get some control of the midfield. And that's where I think there's an issue with Ange, that he doesn't change it quickly enough, he doesn't react quickly enough. And by that time, the game was gone. And by the time he did make the changes, expecting Mikey Moore to come into a side that's struggling at 3-2 down and make a difference was asking a lot. Udogie, I mean, on my show on Sunday, somebody said in the chat that Romero isn't as good as some people think he is. To which he'd actually had an internet problem, but he messaged me and said Romero isn't as good as he thinks he is, and that may be half the problem. Is Romero doesn't always deliver what his ability should. From another point of view, yeah, I agree about Udogie. Udogie defensively isn't particularly brilliant, but that's the way now with modern fullbacks. They're not always great defenders, but he was particularly poor. That first goal was just awful. Van der Ven seemed to be afflicted by the same problem. That wasn't his best game, and he seems to be vulnerable when players just take him on directly. Remembering Isak at Newcastle last season, Romero didn't stand up to the task, and the midfield went missing, so the forwards had no supply. It was just so disappointing. If it had been 0-0 at half time and been an even game, and they just overrun a second half, you could almost take that. But when we were that good in the first half, really that good, it was just so bitterly disappointing. And it's one of those defeats that will take some getting over. And it's 3 days later, and I'm still, when we talk about it, still really disappointed thinking about it. And of course, with the international break, what you'd really want is to be going out again, playing tonight against anybody. Maybe at Tottenham, and going out and proving that you're a really good side again. And we're not playing for another week and a half, and the players are all over the world again. So, yeah, disappointing, bitterly disappointing. But just one thing, we've always been a cup side. And even when we won cups in like 81, 82, 84, we were finishing 7th, 10th, 4th. We were only once or twice we've been, in my time following Tottenham, which is pushing 60 years, have we been in any sort of title race. And even the year we lost to Leicester, we never really got within about 4 or 5 points of them, I don't think. So we're still in 3 cups, and I think that's what we got to look at. Yeah, we might only end up finishing inside the top 10, but let's do it in a couple of cups, and then I think we can build from there. But the capitulation on Sunday was a shock, and remains a shock.
Fair, Ian. Yeah. Right, but the thing is that I because I was doing the watch along, right? You said that we played really well. Yeah, we attacked really well in that first half. We pressed decently, right? And we showed what we could do, and when we're clinical and when we have enough, how we call intensity and the passion to go and get something done. Just big up, Brian. Hope you're doing well, Brian. Right. The only thing is that we defensively, there were still frailties in that first half, right? There were a couple of chances that Brighton had, but Brighton didn't take it, right? We still have to look into that. But of course, we'll go into the second half later. But of course, we all already had our say about this, guys. All I can say is, right, over what we have to do is now is that, of course, we're going to talk about this as sensible, civilized adults and all that, right? And we have to sit down with a critical mind and actually analyze what has happened. First thing is I'm going to put out here, right, is, of course, we know what happened to the game, right? And first one I'm going to say is this, right? Is it a blip, right? Is it a blip along the way while Ange is, building his squad and team and trying to bring us forward? While sometimes I'll come to the next point, is that, Ange shouldn't talk so much, or maybe he's been programmed to talk so much, which actually confuses the fans a lot. But we'll get to that later. For me, is that I'm not going to give any comment whether it's a blip or not, but I'll just get Ian's and Doc Ramlan's opinions on it. We'll just go through this quickly. Ian, what do you think? Is this a blip?
Did you say discipline? I'm struggling to hear you, Eugene, a bit. Discipline.
Oh no, they say, is it a blip? Blip, a blip
blip.
on the way. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. We had a run last season where we obviously got to the top of the table after 10 games. But when you look at that run, Liverpool were down to 9 men and we scored in the 95th minute. We scored very late on against Sheffield United, who couldn't buy a point. So we rode our luck. With this run, we were a goal down with no time to go to Coventry and suddenly found 2 goals. That's what the great sides do, having said that. But we were exceptionally poor. But the scorecard shows that we won the game 2-1. Against Qarabag, goal down. And I was at that game, a goal down in 7 minutes. And they had some really, really good chances.
Man down, yeah, man down.
And 3-0 doesn't really reflect the game I watched. Is it a blip? Maybe, but I do think there are some weaknesses in what we do, and there are some weaknesses in what the coach does. Now, I'm a big Ange Postecoglou fan. Postecoglou fan.
I know.
So I'm not about to jump ship. It's just not my style. I was a big Brennan Johnson fan when he was at Forest, and I was delighted when we signed him. So when everybody else was get him out the club, he's useless, I would say, no, be patient, give him time. People need time to settle into new clubs, particularly coming to a huge club like Tottenham as a very young man. This is what I said earlier. It's really is about, in my view, it's about focusing on where we're strong. We've always been good in cups. We've always been a strong cup side. And the part of the problem is in those days, if unless you won the league and got into the European Cup, or the finished second or third and got into the UEFA Cup, it didn't really matter. If you won a cup, you were absolutely buzzing. And of course, you would get into a cup competition. My view is we shouldn't be worrying as much about the league, and we should focus on trying to win a cup. I think it's there for us. Our League Cup, Manchester City at home, but I suspect that Pep will play a weak side. We don't have to. We could play a pretty strong side and get through that. We've won our first 2 games in the Europa League, and a lot of people whose opinions I respect think that's our best chance of winning a cup. A favourable run in the FA Cup. No, I'm not suggesting we'll win all 3. But if we won one and got to another final, that would be proper progress. And I think that's what we need to do. There are a lot of good young players. Lancashire's going to be a great player. Mikey Moore is going to be a great player. Bergvall will be a great player. But they'll need time. This boy, is it Vasovic from Croatia? They are talking, not me, those that watch him play, are saying he is also a generational talent. And he has, I think he's already scored 4 goals and has 10 goal, whatever goal.
Ian, we got to stop all this generational talent thing until they become. We have to stop all this generational talent thing until they become something.
Well, yeah. In fairness, I think Mikey Moore is rightly described.
Mikey Moore has the potential. Yeah, Mikey Moore has the potential.
There's no better 17-year-old playing in England, than him. Look, with the Croatian boy, I don't know. I've not seen him play, but I know that other people that have, and his coaches there are saying he's a generational talent. He's playing in the Belgian Premier League I know it's only the Belgian league, but he's playing there at 17. Centre halves don't normally play first team football at 17. So all I'm saying is, I think that the future is bright, whether it's Brighton or someone else.
Yeah, I know. I understand the future and all that, but we are talking about here and now. Because being Spurs fans, right, we are starved for trophies. That's the sad thing. But okay, let me get to Doc. Doc, your thoughts on this? Is it a blip?
Well, I hope so. I hope it's a blip. But the thing is, let's just back up a bit and assess what this season is supposed to be. We are still 2 or 3 windows from getting everybody that we need playing the way that we need to play, right? So I feel that with all the players, the young players that are coming in, it's only a matter of time before they'll get to grips with the demands of the intensity of the English league. Having said that, I do believe that I agree with you that we're not a league winning side. No, we have always been a cup winning side. When I first came to be totally involved with Spurs was when they won the FA Cup replay against Manchester City in 1981. You remember that? Yes.
Yeah.
So that was magic.
You remember that? You're old enough to remember that, Eugene.
81, I was already about 13 years old. Yeah, that's when I started to jump onto the Spurs bandwagon, right? That's when I was caught there. So
Yeah.
it was 81, 82, then 84.
Yeah.
80,
That was-
80, yeah.
That's a memorable. You see, we are a team of. We are just a magical team, right? But the magic doesn't happen all the time. Not
Yeah,
often enough.
spot on.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't happen all the time because sometimes the way things pan out. I think I do agree with what you're saying that if we are patient enough, we play our cards right, and we can deal with whatever fitness concerns, any injury problems that we have, and the one thing that I'm afraid is that I would not like to see Ange turning into Pochettino, with all these late and ineffective substitutions. Okay, truly at 2-1, especially at 2-2, we should have made the substitutions. And I feel that if we continue to see that will be a problem for him to overcome. I'm willing to wait, all right, and I fully expect us to bounce back in the first game against the Hammers right after the international break, and I do expect us to win at home and get over this.
Okay, right. For me is that I think the signs were there, right? Because getting past Coventry, Karabakh, who else did we play? Coventry, Karabakh, was it Brentford? Then only we played Manchester United. So, and of course, Manchester United ain't the Manchester United of old. We have to actually look into it. There was already the signs of the weaknesses there, right? And a lot of times is that the teams that we played, they didn't take advantage of it because, of course, if you're playing a lower quality team, they can't finish off their chances, right? So that's, I guess, we are lucky in that, and I see it in the sense at this moment, right? I hope it's a blip, because if it's a blip, right, we can come back. You can say that. But if it's a continuous inherent problem, then that gives me more fear, right? And then I've got to put this up, right? Yeah, there's only one Brendan Johnson. I've said it before, right? I'm not calling him Brenda anymore, right? Because six for six, guys, right? He scored 6 for 6, right? So if we had won that game, right? I mean, he would be a he would have been celebrated, but too bad we lost that game, so he wasn't celebrated. And of course, Shaw. Okay, I just call you Shaw, right? Big up. Just my opinion. I think Spurs will win the Europa League trophy, finish 8th in the Premier League next season, and play in the Champions League. I wouldn't mind that, to tell the truth, right? We are starving for a trophy, right? So it is what it is. So Doc, as for Brendan Johnson, right? I've had my say. I'll call him Brendan now, right? No more Brenda for time being. If he maintains his form, right, and if he still can continue his scoring streak, I'll be happy, right? But I got a new name for Timo. I'm just calling him Wiener now. That's all. Right? Yeah, we all know that. But Doc, your thoughts on Brendan Johnson? I mean, 6 for 6.
No, I'm really pleased for the young man. Simply because he always seems to have all the attributes, to succeed. But the thing is, the way I look at how he shoots, you know how Harry Kane used to shoot? It's as if he knows exactly what sort of angle he has to shoot, and he knows exactly where he is in the box, right? Now this man, he likes to raise his head to admire his shot. He should keep his head down and see where his shot will land. He will land underneath the crossbar, I tell you. So the thing about him is that he's getting that angle right, getting his shots in. But he has to practice this. A lot of teams I've seen, I was team doctor for hockey in Malaysia and all that. Players used to stay behind, away from the conventional schedule training, to practice the shooting. All the penalties and the shooting and all that. So you have to really work on your craft. It's not a matter of just being presented. It's just maybe just half a yard, a microsecond too late or too early, and the chance goes a begging. So I feel that he has still a long way to go, but the signs are good. Solanke looks good anyway. He's just plugging away. He doesn't give up and all that. So I feel that the way he's going, I wish him all the best, and I would like to see him add on to that goal tally, and it will do him a world of good. As for Timo Werner, which you call Wiener, I'm wondering how many more chances do you need to give him. I can appreciate the point that Ange was making. I think he wants to exploit his sheer speed and pace, right? Stretching the defense and all that. So that is helpful. But when you're presented with a clear shooting chance, I think Ange is being bullish in the sense that he wants this guy to actually score a goal, and that will open up his hang-ups about scoring. I feel he's just one goal away from having a burst of 5 or 6 goals himself, right? But you have to be patient. And I'm ambivalent about him, to be honest with you, as frustrated as I am seeing him miss chance after chance. All he needs is just one chance to go in, even off his bum, and then we'll see a flood of goals coming from him soon. Hopefully. Huh?
That's the hope that we all hold on. The only thing is that what I've seen with Brandon is very simple, right? If he hits the ball mid-height to low on ground, right, he usually scores. You understand? In last season, we keep seeing him blasting the ball over the top, And this season is we see him do that, the mid-height low ball, right? He gets it and it's on target, right? Because he usually shoots wherever over the top is on target. But honestly, he did have a chance, right, on Sunday to add to his tally, right? But he didn't because he blasted the ball over the top. Ian, you did say that you are a admirer of Brandon Johnson. Any more thoughts to add on it?
No, I think that everything that's happened to him is about having the confidence and the belief that he's good enough to play for Tottenham Hotspur. I think a lot. I'll talk about this. We're talking about Werner, but is that Scott under another name?
No, I don't think so.
Is that the other Scott?
It's the Alex Scott experience. It's not Scott M. Don't worry.
It's all right. I just you know me with the constant negativity about everything. It does my nut. But I think let's talk about Brennan Johnson. Brennan Johnson, first of all, has been a revelation the last few games, and I think the important thing is he's got the confidence. And you take the goal he scored against Man U. But 20 minutes, 25 minutes into the game, he got another chance like that. And he just moved the ball onto his right foot and he struck it so cleanly. And it hits the post and comes out 2 inches to the right, and he scored another one. And that's about belief. That's about confidence. And that's about remembering the kind of player he was at Nottingham Forest. And I think that's the kind of player that Ange wanted and that Ange got. And he's now being turned into the player that he can be. Obviously, there's more to go. And 6 swallows don't make a summer, I guess, to coin a completely new phrase. But I think we're starting to see the Brennan Johnson, the confident Brennan Johnson, the player with all that potential at Forest. Werner, I understand 2 things about Werner. One, I absolutely understand why Ange wants him. He's a smart player. He's a quick player. He gets behind fullbacks so well. There's probably no less player for ability of getting into those kind of play positions than Werner. The problem is then he gets the ball. And there just comes a point where I think the coach has to say, I'm cutting my losses and you're not going to play or you're going to be a sub in some of the peripheral games. There is a reality here that Son is the first choice for that position. Odombert is going to be challenging when he's back fit after the international break. He's another one that's young but has pace to burn and can really do a job. Then you've got Mikey Moore. Then you've got Werner. And frankly, unless Werner can start hitting the net with some regularity, then he's not going to be in that frame. The good thing is, I mean, I know we're apparently paying a big wage for him, but we haven't paid a big transfer fee with no residual value. But he's another one, if he could hit the net once or twice. He scored goals for fun in Germany. Couldn't do it at Chelsea. Isn't doing it at Tottenham. But there is a player there. There's no doubt there's a player. But how long do you wait? I mean, seriously, how long do you wait? And how long do you wait if you've got Sonny, if you've got Odenberg, if you've got Mikey Moore there? And we know Mikey Moore can score goals because his track record of scoring goals is phenomenal. There's just a limit to how long I can be patient with Werner. But I understand why Ange likes him. Absolutely understand why Ange likes him, and understand why fans don't, because at the end of the day, your job is to put the ball in the net, and he doesn't do
it. And of course, big up to Alex got experience. Yes, I know, Alex. Everyone has got their own opinion, like I said, right? We are all just, we
I mean, just on that,
we are all
fans. Finished. Werner may be done.
Yeah. Maybe finished too.
Maybe finished. I just don't think, when people say he's rubbish, that's not exactly the kind of intellectual analysis you need. He's clearly not rubbish, because a rubbish player wouldn't be getting into the positions that he gets into. It's the fact that he's such a clever player and gets into those positions that makes him so good. What makes him so bad is he's not finishing those chances he gets one-on-one. You have to be converting, at least 2 out of 3.
Mm-hmm. That's true. Right. Okay. We've said plaudits to Brennan. So now let's go to the next one. Now this is going deep into things that, what Spurs has, right? Because I'm going to ask this question one time right now. Where is the problem, right? Before we go to the next question that is come up, right? For me, is that at this moment in time, right, when that first 11 came out, right, it was the same first 11 that played against Manchester United. But when I read that bench, right, I was a bit worried because our squad depth, even though a lot of people said our transfer window in the summer was real good and blah blah blah, but to tell the truth, right, I never believed that, because we never bought players for now, we bought players for future. And of course, later we go to the next part will be put up later. But for me, the problem now, I think the manager needs to learn how to adapt. The manager needs to know that he's not playing in any other league, the leagues which he's been playing in. Right? I'm not going to say the other leagues are bad leagues or shit leagues or whatever, but we do know the standards are much higher than he's coached at, right? But not to say anything bad about other leagues, but he must understand, right? In the Premier League, right, you'll be found out and you'll be caught out really quick, and so you will have to learn to adapt quickly. It's in this game. Let's focus in this game, right? Overall, what's the problem with the players? What's the problem with the manager? Right? Was the problem because of a summer transfer window, or what's the problem just overall? The players and the managers and the transfer window all didn't, fall in line for us to actually be able to perform to a certain standard that we hope to get, right? Just say a big up to hey all, Romy 1 Kenobi, right? And just let the go through, yes, Alex, we know that too. Right, and of course, intellectuals at Tottenham is a common thing, right? 2 titles, 140 years. Yeah, that's true. Two titles, 140 years. Big up Chris Agamba, right? The only Agamba, the number one Agamba. Yeah, big up Chris, right? And of course, these types of Spurs. Yeah, positive. Yeah, no, everyone's entitled to their opinion, right? How they want to love the club, how they want to have their opinions. That's how I said, right? Yeah. And I said we do have this saying in being a Spurs fan. We've got Stockholm syndrome and PTSD. So later we'll come to that. So I've listed my part where is the problem. So I'll come to Doc. Doc, your thoughts, right? The problem? Where is the problem?
Look, in the first place, I always have this. I'm just amazed that how divided we are as a fan base. Because you see, the thing is, there've been I've been on several other forums before, where people actually like to see us lose. They have a laugh, and then they just have a field day pointing out weaknesses and errors and all that. But all I know is that when you win, you need to know why you win. Okay, did you win because you played well or because of sheer providence? That means, by sheer luck. Or when you lose, did you lose in spite of your good play or because of your bad play? So I feel that there's a lack of technical awareness on two fronts. Number one, the players clearly they're not in possession of a certain level of tactical awareness that they themselves can make changes independent of the coach. The coach is out there by the sideline having a flat perspective. What he sees is just flat. Now his coaches, assistant coaches on the byline at the side, they have a video. They can see from above and have a proper perspective of the pattern and the spread of play. Now, if you look at if you notice, most of the younger coaches, they will sit together with a guy with the video screen and all that, and they will have an immediate response to this because they can see the spread of play. Now, our coach is, of course, he doesn't need to be there all the time. He can do whatever he likes, however he likes. But the fact of the matter is that his men in charge of the video analysis have to give this information quickly to him and make the assessment. And don't overload the coach because he's got too much with what he sees on the pitch side. So I feel that the players themselves have to be confronted with the video, not just to show where they are going wrong, but also to go where they are going right or where they need to improve. So that is what we see there in many instances, in many competitions. In my experience, this is always the problem: a lack of tactical awareness and the ability to change according to this. Now, the thing that bugs me also is not so much adaptability, but also the ability to change. I mean, at the end of the day, there will come a time when our manager, as strong as he believes in the way he plays and the way the team should play, must have some surprises in store, because we are a team that surprises no one, right? We are basically all figured out. Either they play a low block and make us play laterally, right to left, left to right, and all that without really penetrating into the penalty box, or we play like we played Brighton, open, and then they played open as well, and then they played open better than we did. And when we went down, our whole team psychology went down as well. So I feel that in the end, you shouldn't risk that sort of situation. And the fact that tactical awareness, number one, of course, it can be inculcated in training. Number two, it does take time for people to get the experience to work out what are the solutions within the game. And between each match, they should be looking at the game as a student of the game, not just being told by the coach what to do and how to do it. So I feel that this is the problem that we suffer. And yes, it will take its time. But I feel I will take the losses on the chin and move on and hope that we will show that we have learned something from the previous matches in the next match against West Ham at our own place.
Yep, hopefully. Big up to Ricky Osvaldo. Yeah, hope you're doing well. Right. And Ian, I mean, the question is asked, like, where is the problem?
You could do a show on it. I mean, you could seriously do a show on it. I mean, do we overreact? It's half our problem. We overreact. I mean, 5.5 games, there was no talk of a problem. We were just, making good progress as a club. As I say, Johnson was coming into form. Kulusevski and Maddison in the middle were starting to really dominate sides. Maddison was starting to show the form we did this time last year. Suddenly we lose a game badly in the second half, and of course it's panic. I mean, if you Ricky Osvaldo 72, love that name. if you were going to go back to where we started, I know there's people joining the show. I mean, this Spursy has been there. Has been there always. I mean, I can't remember when it wasn't when it wasn't a problem. I said that 17 points, 10 this year. Yeah, I know, but in most of the games we played better than we played last year. But we were also out of the League Cup. We were out of the League Cup by this time last year, and we weren't in Europe and played 2 European games and won 2. So it is horses for courses. Where is the problem? Transfer window. I was a bit surprised it wasn't stronger in terms of bringing in experienced players. I was a little bit surprised we didn't bring in a couple of more experienced players. If the club's philosophy is to say we're not going to go out and spend huge money on established players, we're going to buy younger players and develop them as well as the academy, I'm okay with that. But I wish the club would come out and say it. There is a weakness of mentality in the playing staff, whether it's in the boardroom or not, but it predates Ange and it predates Levy. I mean, I can remember when we talked about the 81 season. I mean, I can remember, was it 70? Must have been September 78. We went to Liverpool with Keith Birkinshaw, one of our best ever, probably our second best ever manager. Ozzy Ardiaz in the team, Ricky Villa in the team, Glenn Hoddle in the team, and went out and got beat 7-0 up there. There's always been that capacity, and we went. We didn't win the league for a couple of years, win the cup for a couple of years, but there's always been that within our makeup. One of the problems, I guess, is we instantly get into panic mode. We catastrophize everything that happens. Sunday wasn't good. I'm not going to justify it. I'm not going to justify it, and I'm not holding a candle out for Timo Werner. I think he could well be 4th choice for that left-sided position if he doesn't buck up his ideas. But we've got good players. We've got young players who will develop. Bergvall will develop. Mikey Moore will develop. Lancashire will develop. But that doesn't give us jam today. But we've got enough players. As I said, I think we should be focusing on the cups. As I say, people's all saying, 10 points this season, 7 last year. But the teams we played better in all of the games. We should have had 5 more points than we did. We probably should have 8 more points. We should never have lost to Brighton. We should have beaten Newcastle and we should have beaten Leicester. Played them off the park, couldn't convert the chances. So, I don't think we should be hitting panic buttons. I definitely don't think we should be hitting panic buttons. Not yet.
Okay. Fair. Right. But of course, my channel. Yeah, as long as Levy can book Taylor Swift. Yeah.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah. But guys, I understand what Ian's saying, right? But the thing is that, when you say should off, would have, could off, right? That is a bit of, the reality is that we didn't. That's the simple point, right? So we are where we are with 10 points at the moment. And based on the standings, right, I think this is one of our worst starting of the season kind of scenario that we've had in a long time. So it is what it is. But we'll move on from there, right? I've got one more topic to go on because I know you guys are short of time, right? Let me see. Yeah, I know Ian. Yeah, you go off. Yeah. But I'll come to you first, right, Ian, before you head off, because then maybe me and Mark will have a little chat on this, right? Ian, I'm sure you are aware of the manager's pre and post-match statements, right? Your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, certainly post-match, I got the impression he was annoyed. I think one of the things people want and people expect is the manager to show some emotion, and I can understand why. People complain that he appears to be standing on the touchline and appears inactive, not doing enough. I certainly get that, but I also hope upon hope that because he did make it clear the position, the performance wasn't acceptable, the attitude wasn't acceptable, etc. But having said that, the old adage in management is you praise in public, you criticise in private, and I wouldn't expect a proper professional manager. What Conte did at Southampton was clearly he wanted to write his own obituary. That was fine. That's not the way you manage people. But I would expect that in the dressing room and on the training ground with the players that he's got there that aren't in international duty, he's made it absolutely abundantly clear that that can't be happening. That just cannot be happening. You know, I see in the chat the stuff about Ange. I think they're in for the long haul with Ange. But I think the problem with the club is you can't keep changing the manager unless you've got a clear other direction you want to go in. And the problem is we keep going in different directions and then wondering why we don't progress. You know, a lot of the criticism aimed at Levy is justified. Some of it isn't. One of my criticisms of Levy is for a highly intelligent man, there's not always been a joined up thinking. What is he trying to achieve? What is Levy trying to achieve? When he sacked Pochettino and brought in Mourinho, what was he hoping to achieve? When he sacked him and brought in Nuno, what was he looking to achieve? When he then sacked Nuno after a few games and brought in Conte, what was he trying to achieve? And how, you know, and how then was he going about it? I don't buy this narrative he doesn't want to succeed. Yeah, of course, the club's successful or the company is successful with its off-field projects. So I don't have a problem with that. I just don't think you have, you bring in a Mourinho or you bring in a Conte unless you are committed to trying to bring in success. What I think is behind that then is, well, what are you actually doing? Are you backing, you know, are you backing the coach? Are you, you know, looking at a long-term strategy? My problem with Mourinho and Conte, and I was happy about Conte's appointment, not Mourinho's, is that they are instant jam tomorrow. Managers, coaches, they come, their experiences, they come to a club, they have a couple of years, they spend an awful lot of money, and then, pardon my language, they fuck off. And I think that part of the problem with Levy is that's not his style. But I can't buy the idea. I can't buy the idea. We'll come up to that Arne Slot thing in a minute. I don't buy the idea you appoint a Mourinho and a Conte, but don't want success because they want success. That just doesn't make any sense to me. In terms of Arne Slot, my understanding is that Postecoglou was the first choice, and he worked with Scott Munn in Japan, and Scott Munn came into the club at the same time, and that Postecoglou was the first choice. Arne Slot is doing a wonderful job at Liverpool. Whether Arne Slot should have been appointed, whether it would have made any difference. I think this is a problem, that there are issues going through the club that have gone through the club for 40 years, 50 years since I've been following them. It's not just about Levy. It's not just about Postecoglou. It's about a complete mentality within the club that appears to be weak. And Postecoglou, you know, when people talk about that Man City game last year and about people even in the club wanting Manchester City to beat us so Arsenal didn't win the league, I must say I could never countenance that idea of wanting Tottenham to lose a football match. But I think that if you've got that mentality, it maybe demonstrates that all's not well within your club from top to bottom, and that takes time to change. Conte was never going to take that time, and I suspect him and Levy were never going to agree for long enough for him to make that change. They seem to be in it for the long haul with Ange. Whether he's the right man, I don't know. I want him to be because it was my first choice, my only choice for manager. But, you know, having seen some of the performances and some of the decisions from the touchline during matches, of course I've got my doubts, but I mean, I'm going to stick with him for this season, and let's see where we are at the end of the season. But and I do have to go, and I can't even listen to the doctor.
Just hold on. Hold on. Plug your channel and what's coming up. You're supposed to do some promotion things, and I'll put this on. Guys, please go over to Spurs Diehard TTID.
Yeah,
right.
I should say.
Ian's coming up with a special show soon.
Oh, please, yeah, for those of you, whatever people in the chat, whatever they think of what I've said, I've got an interview on Sunday at 8 p.m. BST with the legendary Julie Welsh, football fan extraordinaire, first female journalist, authoress, fascinating story that she has to tell. And I'm working to make sure I get the questions to... the questions to bring out that story. But whatever we think, it will not be about Levy, it will not be about Ange, it will be about her and her story, and following the club through the double, through the great years, her friendship with Danny Blanchflower, writing those glory days, which you can watch on YouTube. Thanks Eugene. Yes, I'll be circulating that. But look, we're all on the same team here. We're all Spurs supporters. We all want the best for our club. So, Eugene, I do have to go. I don't know how long you're going on for, but enjoy it. And the guys in the chat. Thanks, Doc. Thanks.
Have a good day.
And I'll catch you another time.
Catch up later, right? I have to come onto your channel one of these days, right? Let me know.
Absolutely, Eugene. Get you up at 4 a.m. to do it.
Yeah. All right, take care, Ian. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
All right. Doc.
Yeah.
Right. Let me go through this. Jamie Gate, big up to Jamie Gate. Hope you're doing well. Big up Eugene Levy's just not lacking ambition. He's determined to fail at football. Why else would we sack Mourinho before? Yep, the cup. I understand that, right? And of course, what can Romeo and Kenobi says that respect to all Spurs fans. Yep, respect to all Spurs fans. We're all fans. I said we all have our opinions, right? It's all just football opinions. Right, and Jamie Gates says entire manager carousel. Yeah, that's true. That's why I will explain that later, right? Because I got this. I understand what's happening in the fan base. There is a group that are supporting Ange all the way, right, 100%. Because right, no matter what he does, we're just waiting to ride out the process. There's another group who has actually PTSD because we don't want to be changing managers over and over again, right? And then of course there's another group who are looking at it and with a realistic vision to see how good the football is and whether we can actually achieve something with this manager. And they don't think that is possible. That's why, it is what it is. We are divided into 3 sides at the moment. Doc, your thoughts, right? Did you actually see the pre-match and post-match statements?
I caught a bit of the post-match statement.
Know what he said, the pre-match statement, right? He was asked something about this highline thing and what kind of things would he the change and will he change anyway to try to counter and all that. He said no, he's going to counter it, right? He wants it to be entertaining, right? And just as long as it's entertaining football, and it'll be okay. The post-match one was the hardest one to swallow because while you are trying to build this win now, win whatever it is, that win mentality, right? But when you come up with post-match statements that says that I made those subs late is because I felt that they weren't competitive enough. It wouldn't have done anything, right? It is what it is, and we did it. And even if we have got something, we wouldn't have deserved it, right? My God, why are you contradicting yourself? You get what I'm saying? So your thoughts on it first before I go on a rant on that.
Well, let's talk about learning curves, right? He's never he's managed at in other places, but not at this level, Premier League and then playing in Europe and all that. So he does as good as most of us believe he can be. He does have a learning curve, and it's not just the players; it's the manager as well. So I think if we believe in him overall, you have to allow him to make his mistakes. All right, but the key thing is to learn from those mistakes and to adapt whatever that you're doing to address the weaknesses and to enhance the strengths. That's number one. Number two, I feel that there's always this issue of leadership. Now he has got Son as the captain and three players: Madison, Romero, and now Vicario as senior players and all that.
Leadership group.
Leadership group. Now, the way I look at it, if you look at the profile of a leader, right, I've never been convinced. Tom is a great player, right? No doubt. He's a legend already, not a legend in the making. But you see, sometimes when you're a leader, you when you want to transmit or communicate what how others should be doing, it's not just a matter of just expressing your frustration to other players. All right, your body language, your facial expressions have to show the intensity and to g up that level to inspire your teammate to do better than what he's doing. All right. So I feel that out of the four, the captain and the three in the leadership group, only Vicario has the right level of passion, to be that sort of leader. The rest are still subject to just withdrawing to themselves and then thinking too much with their thoughts. Being alone with your thought is a dangerous thing, because you start to even doubt yourself. And how can you lead other people if you doubt yourself? You have to really have the desire to win and transmit that to others. And it's not just a matter of being afraid of the outcome. Because in the end, if you're afraid of the outcome, that fear of the outcome will get in the way of doing better to get a better outcome. I tell you, this is one of the things that is always when people fear the outcome. That's why you start to not think about the process of getting a win. You start to worry about the outcome itself, so it gets in the way. So I feel that this will take time. I agree with Ian just now about this thing, but I must point out that Ange himself does have a learning curve, and the key to all of this is how well he adapts to the lessons that he himself has learned in terms of the substitutions and all that. I feel that when he said that there's no point in making an early substitution, it's like as if the house is on fire and you're just spitting away at it trying to put it out, no? So you might as well not make any substitutions at all.
The house on fire, right? And you're putting gas, you're pouring more fuel on it.
No, you're just spitting away at it, right? I mean, it's not going to put the fire out.
He didn't want to put the fire out. That's why in his post-match statements, really blew my mind, right? How can you, as a manager, right, come out, right, while you were slating the fans last season, and talking about the winning mentality and all the things that he was saying, right? Then you come to this match, right, and you turn around and tell me, right, the results, we didn't deserve it, and it wouldn't have mattered even if the players weren't. Oh, come on, that is all hogwash. That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying, I'm not sure whether this is a time dog, right? Because if I'm going to go on this, right, because like I said, like Jamie Gate is saying, right. For me, right, what I feel about Ange now, right, Ange, right, is basically a deflection and a distraction, right, for the Levy out movement, because he has divided his fan base. I've been doing this for 3 over years now. I've been there since the European Super League, right, the European Super League until now. You get set up, and there was already a divide between the Levy in and the Levy out, right, and then when Conte came in. Okay, so we don't talk about Nuno, right? Nuno was a blip. Nuno was the blip, right? When Conte came in, it quieted down a lot of things because a lot of fans saw that we had ambition. But then, of course, when the transfer windows came in, right, we saw the club didn't give that ambition that Conte wanted. That's why Conte blew up. And that's why Conte said what he said after the Southampton game, right? That's why he called out the club. He is the only manager, right, in the history of Spurs that sat down there and called out the club. You understand? And hold and behold, what happens after that? He gets sacked. Fair, right? Mourinho brought us to a cup final, right? And when he had his loggerheads with Levy, because he wanted to focus more on the cup final than focus on the league, right? What happened? He was sacked 6 days or 5 days before cup final, and we brought in Ryan Mason, and we lost 1-0. Yeah, history is history, right? But what I'm saying now is, right, big up, Harry, Scaffy, right? Yeah. So what I'm saying now, right? Why are we as a fan base not seeing this through? Our manager, right, pre-match statement was, right, I'm here to entertain, right, and hope we get a result. So are we Spurs fans now so into that sense that we just want to see attacking football and the results doesn't matter anymore? While our manager is saying that we must have this winning mentality, right? Why are we all, the sad part is that Ange went after the Spurs fans last season in the MCT game, and he caused a big divide there. You know that? He caused a very big divide there, right? In the end of the day, I'm sure he would have understood to a certain extent. You're a Celtic manager before. The Celtic and Rangers rivalry are so bad until, right, the away fan stand in Ibrox Stadium has to be closed whenever Celtic comes to town to play them. So he must have understood that. Why did he come up with statements like that? So he divides the fan base again. So like I said, distraction. Now he's coming out with all these pre and post match statements, right, which doesn't add up to me in my mind. I'm sorry to say that, right, guys. What I see, and I will just say directly, right, either Ange is a hypocrite, a liar, or Ange, right, is just following the Spurs PR machine to say what he has to say. That's all. That's my side of how I feel, guys. That's how I feel, right? It doesn't reflect on what Doc feels and Ian feels and the rest of the Spurs fandom feels, right? And like I said, everyone is entitled to their opinions and how they feel. And the sad part is that what they've done is that they divided fan base, and the worst part is that they've created this divide while on social media, everyone is calling everyone out, right? And I also don't understand, right? People talking things like, fair weather fans and all that, blah, blah, blah. Why? You can say not. We're all entitled to our own opinions, right? So it is what it is, right? That's why I'm saying, Doc. That's why I'm frustrated to a certain extent while this is happening, right? So, to tell you the truth, right? I would love, right, for us to come back after the international break and smash West Ham. And then we'll get Kesha on, and then we'll poke it into him. But then, what if West Ham comes to our stadium because West Ham has got a good record at our new stadium, Doc?
Yeah. Yes, they do. New
stadium.
Yeah.
Guys, all in the chats, right? Thanks for supporting. Don't forget to smash the like, right? This show won't be long because it's the international break, and I didn't bring fans from other club on because everyone just, they're all relaxing now and all that. We don't want to laugh at other people because we are in this situation now. What happened at Brighton reflect, maybe it's part of the progress, part of that blip. We have to go down to come up again. We have to learn. It's a learning curve for Ange, like what Doc is saying. But the problem is that to now till today, right? We're already how many months? Ange has been with us 1 over year now, maybe 16 months or so, right? And we still see he's very stubborn, right? Let me just go through some of the what call? Top 4 is a trophy. Alex got experience. The Jamie Gates talking Alex Sport. The fans will become part of the problem. Deluded. Accepting. I know. The thing is that if our fans in London, right, were more, like a few more people that I know that will actually go to protest and actually show their displeasure, then maybe Levy will stand up and do something. But Levy has been affected before by the discontent of the fans because during the Conte days, I think, they were shouting his name, Levy out, right? And don't forget, right, when we lost 3-0 at home to Manchester United, what happened, right? When Nuno was in charge, that was more or less the first time the Levy out chance was very loud, but it is what it is, right? But all I can say now, right, guys, thanks for being on. Peter, hope you're doing well. I'm sure you're about, my God, 1 a.m. there in Sydney or Melbourne. Hope you're doing well, right? Jamie Gate, right, thanks for being here. Once the voice of Levy out, volume gets up, that was the thing, right? There's the sympathy pat from his wife, right? Yeah, and then the manager goes round again. Yeah, you didn't see that, right, Doc? There was a sympathy pat.
Really? Oh.
Yeah. Last season when when Mourinho was in charge, right? There was a sympathy pat. Yeah. Yep, like every billionaire hates Bad Pira. Look at Newcastle. Yep, they got it. Might actually. Oh yes, I know. 2:10 a.m. Yeah, 2:10. You're 3 hours ahead of
Oh,
me.
good.
Yeah, yeah. He's in Australia, Peter Kayes.
Yeah,
Big
yeah.
up. Thank
We
you.
are,
Romy, one can only. Big up. Jamie Gitt was here. Right. Scarface Harry was here. Right. Alex Scott Experience is here. Right. Guys, thanks for your support. Thanks for your time. Right. Please give me a like. Right. And I'm sure I've got the subscriber thing on. Right. So if you're already in here chatting, right. Ricky Osvaldo, big up to you too. Right. And guys, Chris Agamba, the number one Agamba. Right. Because we got a Holly Agamba. Right. And his distant cousins with Holly Agamba. we are all, tell the truth, right? When I did this 3 years ago, right, we all became a big family together, right? And Shaw, hope you're doing well, and of course Ryan for Huddersfield, right? And Mark Swift and Nippon, right? All big up to you guys, right? Guys, thanks for your time. Sorry to be a short show, but hopefully we'll get how would you say, right? Hopefully we'll get to do another show as soon as possible, maybe next week or maybe and on the weekend when it's international break, maybe Malaysia playing anybody here? New Zealand, right?
Yes. We're playing in
New Zealand.
Yeah, playing away. Yeah.
And
yeah.
it's what? Is it an afternoon game or is it a early morning game? I can't remember. Yeah.
God, I haven't been following. I must apologize.
Maybe I'll do the New Zealand Malaysia watch along. Which I haven't done the Malaysian watch along for a long time. But let's see how that goes. Right. But guys, thanks for all your support. I'll catch up with you guys later. Right. And as always, leave you out.